Good morning, everybody. Thank you all so much for coming out today. It is 9:14 and we're going to call this meeting to order at this time, and we're going to begin with a roll call. We're going to do roll call.
Well,
Sign-in sheet. So just make sure, since we're doing sign-in sheet instead of roll call, make sure you signed in this morning. And then at this time, I'm going to call for approval of the July minutes, and your July minutes are in your packet. And you were emailed them as well. So if you're second to take a look at those, that's fine, and if not, I just need a motion to approve those. Want everybody to move?
I'll make a motion to approve John Mrs. Lowe.
Thank you, Lo. Need a second. Thank you.
Thank you,
Maxwell. Is anyone opposed to adopting these minutes?
just one point of clarity.
Yes, Cook.
Both Lowe and Maxwell were at the July meeting? Yep.
Yes, they were.
Perfect.
Thank you for asking.
That's it. That's it.
Anyone opposed? Okay. Minutes are approved. Moving to our icebreaker.
Perfect.
Turn it over to Zubak.
So we are gonna do an icebreaker, and let me see how many we have in here. 4 and 4. If we can split into 2 groups of 4, Spangler, Ziegler, and Alexander, if you will join Monica. And then if the rest of you will group up at a table as well. Brooks, if you want to go back towards the rear, I know the rest of them are there. Everybody gets blindfolded today.
It's like icebreaker.
So what you will want to do is choose somebody to wear the blindfold, which will simulate a visual disability. And then everybody else, without touching the person or helping guide them, is going to verbally tell them how to put these puzzle pieces together. And they should be right side up in the order that you see it. So, where you volunteering? So, yeah.
If we need like a little 5 minutes, I think it means thinking, make sure we talk about this a little bit. It's not on the agenda, but doing a recap.
SCUD? Good.
I do
Just like real highlights for people it may not be a big deal. I mean,
But I mean, we could, it was a success.
it was a success, and I don't mean like let's tell them what they answered, just like here's what happened, here's where it is, that kind of thing.
We weren't overly attentive, but it was well attended by everybody.
Just feel like
That's why I was
it's
sitting
good
down
to
there,
be
you
able
know.
Yeah, because I think we did need to at least cover that, hey, we had it, it did happen, and it was a success.
So Nancy's gonna do
A
a,
mental breakdown.
Yeah, that too.
that too. If we do a mayoral forum recap, Nancy's gonna.
Like I was having a headache last night, like my husband gets off at like 3 o'clock, so when he comes in, I see I sit on the couch going, it's giving me one so hurt this morning, it's like it's a stress headache, that's what that is, it's just too much going on, too many places to be.
Well, and Janet's been at the beach all week, so I've been, dropping kids off to school and picking them up, and which there's like a 5% chance I might have to leave. It should be fine. Like he can probably get a ride, but there's like a very small chance.
What time is it?
Okay, this is your first opportunity now. Towards my voice.
We might find that we don't make it all in the figure.
Nope, right here, it's in my hand. Okay, lay it down flat.
It's upside down. It's
Here it is your second tile, and it burns to the right.
I knew it.
Because I saw that Hubert Smith posted the other day that the news or whoever did a report.
I saw that one.
Oh, no.
I told her it was gonna go to the right. Because she's the vice chair. Okay, I'm gonna be able to leave
Oh,
our
okay.
tile.
Oh, if you have to
And
leave,
it's gonna
yeah, I
go
don't
to
know.
the right.
I just
The
was
last
making sure
tile.
there's small chunks that my son will be able to go right at.
I'm handing
You
you
might
the
have to-
tile, and it's gonna go under the first tile.
Do we really think it's gonna go till 4?
Maybe, it's this, this is the big,
Let's not go. I appreciate it.
It used to be connected to
I already went to work today. I worked for
First time
45 minutes before I came in here.
Okay, this one is gonna go
I don't
to the
care,
right.
I'm at 2, so
On
I'm
the last tile.
until 4:30.
Hang into that.
Yep.
No
I mean,
problem.
you gotta take everything back to
I know
the
your boss,
office.
she's pretty
You
cool.
gotta-
We can saunter across to cars and take our phone and have fun.
Handing you the tile, that one's gonna go to the right. The other
Oh,
one.
As long as like that strategic related stuff gets done,
Yes.
then we're fine.
That's our number one
And we gotta get a
today.
new bylaws chair, because Nesmith left. You know what?
And then there's
I
also your vote, we
didn't
need a
even
secretary.
realize or mean to, but I knocked off
I'm handing you a tile.
10
And
minutes
it's
for
gonna
after
go
5.
under.
Yeah, I know.
I already did that. I know.
Which house, what did you do?
He did the housekeeping.
Oh, she did.
Oh,
Where all
that,
that drinks are available and all.
and you did it in 30 seconds,
So,
10 minutes.
the only thing that you missed
Uh-oh.
was the, hospital for the interpreter.
Oh. I need to be that way, but it's, you know.
Yeah, but still.
We're not.
I have asked for updates during the day for smoothness. And
We're
any
cheater
notes
readers.
need to be made, so
It is.
we'll see what comes out the end.
Do I need to rotate it?
Well, I didn't say that, so
But don't you need to
I
read
didn't say
it?
that.
We'll do it during
I was gonna say,
housekeeping.
I'll just do it then.
But you only got 15 seconds, because I have everything else in 30.
Well, I've got a 10-minute window, so
You can just take your time now,
I can enunciate,
very clearly.
tell each person individually.
Yeah, it's, we have one gentleman active right now doing stuff we did, and another one that he left. We're doing our annual safety training. He's going to go out for Who's that? Oh, Dave, okay, that's a, gotcha. He, so not just our annual safety training.
That's what I said to Karen, like I said, it's outside.
And so she'll
There's
always
a,
call me to make sure, because sometimes I'll.
there's a deck out there, which table is.
Well,
of course, it's still nice.
I said, no, he's gone. She said, you're so happy. I said, I am. It had nothing to do with him being happy. He was just a bad kid. When he left, this was sweet. Because sometimes they're.
Yeah, he's on.
Yeah.
So now you're gonna have to take the bigger one and flip it over.
And when the one gentleman turned in
That's-
his notice, said they.
Yep, that's your left column.
His supervisor,
That's where she.
technically, he worked at the notice, so he's rehireable, that's the policy.
Right there.
I don't have a check mark here where I can put, don't retire till I'm retired.
There you go.
I said, we don't know what's going on.
What is it?
We were going to be retired in this time.
Where?
It's a puzzle that has different animals for each number. So it's numbers 1 through 9, and the one has a dog on it, the
Oh,
two dolphin.
I talked to Sam, where's the interpreter? She's a school. She used to live in the whole wide and she's a
It's a whale.
I know. so they're asking for 2 more positions. So I'm on the court list that says I need to call, don't need to. So I don't need to. No, I didn't. Oh, she would, she's such a sweet. She's a dog.
No.
We talked about her. She's good.
So we'll try to blindfold the application.
I'll put my hands.
I got voluntold.
We'll just have to go mayor. I have some opinions here.
Daddy used to say she was
Yes, everybody's got one.
The one is right above your right hand.
Does it prevent us?
Oh, I'm sorry, your left hand. Right hand doesn't matter.
When we talked to you,
One tap. Yeah, that is your one.
Here's my.
Is it right side? Okay, there you go. Where's your right?
She left it. She left it. I hear it.
Right, your left hand. And then just put it down towards the and it's for your right thumb, or your left thumb. Sorry, I'm upside down. Sorry, I couldn't see.
Alright, put that
I'm like,
You don't want to have any more bodies.
I'm still looking.
You have to say time?
Did you get
Now, hand down. That's the two.
Good job. Let's see where they are.
Rotated once, clockwise.
We finished and then now we're trying somebody else.
Oh, all right. So you are repassing the blindfold too.
Push both those pieces up towards my knee.
It's better if we can.
Because it's now to your left hand and reach towards my knees.
We've already seen your VP. We'll see how this works out.
There you go.
Hey, Casey, I can't remember your
My name is Kane.
name.
Rotated clockwise once.
Kane.
Good. Press it. Yeah. Up one. Up one. Good. Push those towards me.
Used to be your room. Is that most of the place that you guys are?
Right. 4 is gorilla. It's ink.
He's a
Okay.
Put it down.
I just want you to know, Kane, you're part of this today, so help yourself. Okay, okay. You're welcome.
Rotate your one your left hand once.
I'm gonna go break. I'm gonna change.
Bend them if you got to.
Now with your left hand, reach out
I changed our policy on hair colors.
down.
I should be able to have, no, I can still be the HR coordinator.
Rotate.
What? Bring me
When
up.
I first started the deal, we said in our employee manual, no unnatural hair colors or, I can't remember what it says of hair styles. But I think for people.
How I was doing.
You were considering, right?
Yes, I do. I have gotten it.
The way out.
So when it's like the most like hired and Liz was president and CEO, I think I should be able to have people.
Down.
I've worked here long enough, and I'm a good worker.
Down right there.
He had a good look, has nothing to do with my ethics here.
Down.
And she said, I agree. And so she said, well, you know, then you can have unnatural hair colors. Or you can't say when a person's hair color.
Press up a little bit.
Thank you. I agree.
Whoops,
So
they're
she
gonna
said, no,
push all those pieces up towards me.
and we changed that.
Alright, next is 7, which is a piece of
It's just.
purplish blue. So with your right hand, reach out to me.
We accept people of
Down.
all different things.
Right there with your
I mean, nice thing.
rotate once towards me.
Yeah, if it's,
Go all the way to
if you have a soft color on it,
Yes.
so you can't have
over one.
anything that's.
The right one.
Very good. Say 8 teddy bears, like blue.
So yeah, we brought stuff.
Out towards my voice. Yeah.
I just don't have.
So we're gonna get one there. Rotate one towards me. Other way around.
I think we'll get it.
Ever see it?
And if we don't, then
You'll have to find it.
Right.
We could start, if we pick up time here, we could start these before lunch.
it's not in.
It's not, once you get up. She's up, she's up slightly. And then you want to get the top left corner. If you mess them up. You're
It's always
saying,
like that strategic.
Put little stars, please.
Oh, I'm for breaks. I'm always for breaks.
There you go.
Always for breaks.
All right, last. Trash can, the raccoon,
Allison,
eight.
you're right, you're right.
It's in the correct orientation.
Trying to
Rotate
from
towards
1 to
me.
3 Wednesday, and at 2 o'clock.
Like that last piece, you'll want to get up slightly.
But I didn't tell the Flagos that. I was like, y'all good? You need a break? You want 10 minutes? Oh, no, man, let's power through. I'm like, so we got done at 25 till.
Yeah, I can don't say that, just
Yeah, we're taking it.
a few minutes.
Because when you gotta go, you
I was like, well, there's only 3 of them, so I didn't want them to have to wait 5 or 10 for me to leave.
Was caught. So I could feel that it was.
Yeah, so this is what I would like, I have strategic plan breakouts. I would like to float between them.
Yeah.
I would like to make sure, like with the strategic plan groups, if 2 of you can go to livability and 2 of you can go to universal design. And then on the committees, as long as there's 1 person in each of them,
A lot of happy.
I'll be floating.
Okay.
Because
of all the caffeine you drank.
no, but Stephanie,
No, you,
That's ridiculous.
I figured you broke the
That's
carafe.
ridiculous.
it only holds 4.5 cups.
are you sure?
I only had 1.5
Cups according to,
so far.
4.5 cups according to what?
Well,
It's like
12
4.5
ounce
gallons.
cups.
12-ounce cups is not a thing. That's
Thank
not,
you.
that's not what cups are.
It's a Misha thing. It's a Misha approved cup of coffee.
Yeah, that's not how cups work.
I wouldn't be sleeping.
I'll drink a few of these. I still have to eat all day.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna be in there like 20 times, but I have energy for this. And I'm a happier person for this.
What's in that? Not that.
Oh, same thing as this, I just mixed it up with sugar and creamer.
Just hard. This-
She didn't know me for real.
I've done some.
No.
Have you seen what's in that?
It's really crazy. It's called water.
Did y'all not do that?
What's that?
Why did y'all do that, Rick?
Because we've already mastered it.
I find that
Trust.
Did everybody do the puzzle? Do you feel like you know each
Well,
other?
we're on time now, so we're back.
Definition of
Alright, let me got these things.
Purpose of an icebreaker.
We're not gonna have to sit around talking about
I would take all that.
Want to go get the pants?
Thank you.
We're not going to the blindfold on our friend.
Who picked icebreaker?
I did.
Put that on the survey.
That
That was icebreaker I ever did participate in.
No, that's not the worst icebreaker.
Yeah, I've been
That's pretty bad
I've been
icebreaker.
for sure.
We're not gonna have to sit around and talk about our feelings or anything, are we?
Oh, yeah, that's later.
No, sorry.
What'd you get back?
I'm dead inside.
Okay, so let's go
Feelings,
there.
my feelings.
Would you prefer going down?
All right.
How did that make you feel?
Let's go.
Like you're deflecting.
easier to slow down.
Yes.
All right, if everyone wants to go ahead and get back in your seat.
Thanks to you for having us.
Probably better to go.
Oh, we were all cards.
And this is your packet.
I'll sit back there and grab it.
Yeah.
Are you still at work? I'll be like, I need to guys make a podcast. So he feels the finance. He's a big.
Kane, will you go ahead and sign in too? You can sign in just at the bottom and write KCM beside it.
Don't think this way.
All right. So what did everybody learn from the icebreaker? Yes, Maddie?
I'm good explaining to smart people and not kids. So.
Okay. That's a good takeaway. Does somebody that had the blindfold on them want to tell us about your experience trying to do it with instructions from others?
Yeah, I can. It's a lot more difficult than it is, and I realize that you have 2 or 3 people tell you, it can get a little confusing, so you just focus on one person and to get the directions, it seems to help, so yeah.
All right, that's a really good takeaway.
There is sorry, Alexander, a lack of information that we take for granted when we can see. I didn't know what the colors looked like. I didn't know the shapes. I didn't know which side was really up or down at first. So there is a part of the environment that isn't necessarily communicated to. And then there's also another barrier for Monica, for example. I didn't feel comfortable having her do that part because she's already at a disadvantage. And I'm not sure that that would have, left her out in the icebreaker, and that I didn't have the gumption to suggest it, other than jokingly be like, "We'll be here for a while." Could we make it work? Yes, we probably could make it work, but even in that scenario with us here, she was separated in that. So, we take for granted just little things in our environment and how to communicate. Like, you need to be able to say rotate or turn over, or this is a raccoon or a trash panda, something to have a person with disability be a part of it. A lot of our neurotypical able-bodied people, we don't necessarily think all the way through.
Absolutely.
You don't know what you take for granted, is what I'm trying to say in short.
And all of this is really applicable to disabilities and to our job as the Mayor's Council on Disability Issues, to help give a voice to those
That may otherwise be excluded.
Thank you. Ms. Schumann-Orr has a question. Or statement.
One word I thought about, inclusion. So we had to include him, finished, and then when it was her turn, we shifted to her, we had to include her. We had to think about her, and at the same time, he and Alexander and Stacy had to become fully dependent on us. So they both experienced being included and being supported by depending on us.
I love that. So some people, because of their role in the icebreaker, felt a little awkward. Some people felt comfortable because they had their teammates to help them understand the icebreaker and get the puzzle put together. And then others were there in support of the original team. So I think that says a lot about disability community. I always say if you got something needs figured out, get with the folks that have disabilities, you know, because they've had to figure stuff out every day all their lives since they've had a disability. And we all understand what it's like to feel excluded. So I really appreciate the comment of that exercise from you, Monica. And I appreciate Daniel saying he recognized that that wasn't an exercise fully inclusive of Monica.
And I posted on Facebook one time a quote that says, people don't know how to deal with disabilities that we do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes, Maddie?
So one question, how would the hearing impaired explain to the visually impaired on how to do something and vice versa? I've never run into that, I've never had those issues, but I've always been curious, like, what's the best way to approach that if you're in, something like that?
Say the
How
question.
would
So
the-
I'm approaching somebody that's hearing impaired, how best can I explain to them? I mean, I know we're visually seeing, but I don't know, I guess if you were both hearing and visually impaired, how would you explain something?
Monica, I think that you are the perfect person to answer this for Matheson.
Okay, if I were wearing a blindfold with these people who don't know sign language, it would take all day. That one, two, whatever, they have to figure it out, how to communicate with me, even though I might hear some, but I would not want them to talk to me because I need to lip read. So, but if everyone knows sign language, then it's tactile communication. Put my hands under the hands of the deafblind people. So, it all depends. Did I answer the question, Barry?
Do you have
Close
a,
enough, I don't think there is an actual straight answer.
yeah, but that answered it good enough, you don't have a follow-up question? All right. Did anybody learn anything about one of our newer members today while you were in your groups? All right.
Monica has good sense of humor.
I didn't hear, I'm sorry.
She has good sense of humor.
Monica has a good sense of humor.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and go on to housekeeping.
Just one quick housekeeping note. Since we have one interpreter today, we'd just like to ask everybody to speak maybe a little more slowly than they're used to normally, which is certainly a problem for me, especially if I've had a lot of coffee. I talk really fast. So something to be aware of today. Anything else housekeeping wise?
No, I think Stephanie covered most of it.
Okay. Move on to bylaws update.
All right, so we do have a bylaws update. I've been in talks with law about taking out and city council for confirmation of members of second terms and of officers. We had in the past taken off and city council in terms of who CODI advises, and it used to be the mayor and city council. And in order to continue meeting over Zoom, we had taken out and city council then to allow it and get away from having to do the in-person meetings every month during the pandemic. And so at this point, they really only get the recommendation from the mayor, and then we have to wait for them to confirm the members and such. So law has suggested that we separate that out. Once that is done, and I do have an AIS in the system right now, which will go before city council on September 5th, and I should have more information after that. But the plan is, once this gets approved and city council steps back from confirming members and such, law is going to get together with me. We're going to create 2 separate documents, which is a superseding. These are the things about CODI that are probably not going to change, or at least not very often.
the 9 to 21 members that has been in place, I think, since '84, and a couple of other things. And then that will be the main document, and bylaws are going to be a separate document that we as CODI and a bylaws committee can update on our own. And of course, we'll show it to the mayor and get her approval on it, but it won't have to be approved by city council before it goes into effect. So that's going to kind of speed things up for getting new members on board, for confirming officers and second terms, as well as whenever we do want to change bylaws. Stephanie, do you want to add anything before I ask if there are questions?
I just want to say that, we've had bylaws updates in the hopper on the CODI brain for 2 years, maybe 3. And once we really dug in and law asked some really good questions about why is this written this way, and we're both like, well, because it's always been written that way, that sort of thing. It really made a lot of sense to go this direction. As Misha said, it can sometimes take months to bring on a new member from the procedural aspect. So we hope that this will be a way to get the business of CODI done a little quicker and simplify things. So, and it does not change the relationship of CODI to the city. Still always mayor's council on. Mayor will be the one ultimately appointing individuals and that sort of thing. It just won't force us to go before council 2 or 3 times a year. When we have a new appointee or somebody leaves their term early and we have somebody that goes in. So hopefully, anyway, it will simplify things and speed them up.
And speaking of which, I do have a resignation to report. Ashley Wells Ajinkya texted me last night and has turned in her resignation due to having acquired a new job and simply not having time for CODI.
Aw, doggone.
All right, well, we are a little bit early, but we are at committee breakouts right now. I do have things prepared for everyone, and you should in your individual packets have your committee stuff as well as for later your strategic plan stuff. So if we can break out into bylaws, membership, and transportation. If you're on transportation committee, raise your hand, please. All right, let's have transportation meet over by Brooks. If you are on membership, please meet over by Monica up here at the front. And then bylaws, raise your hand for me. All right, if you will go back to Jackson Kane and meet there, and then I will be around to all the groups floating. So we're 15 minutes ahead, so 10:45 is when you walk in there. Committee reports. I would like to make a short announcement because I know that we've talked about engagement in the regular CODI meetings, engagement in our committees, and engagement in our strategic plan groups. And I want to let you all know that I thought very seriously about going to Party City and getting a little plastic gold trophy. So I would just like to give props to Mr. Joel Simmons here, who just the other day sat in his van in the middle of a tornado to have a committee meeting as chair so that he did not miss it.
Yeah, I didn't know tornadoes. I was sitting there talking to him, like, it's got some rain to it, but it doesn't have any real wind or anything to it. And that's about the time the monkey showed up.
Then you woke up in Oz.
I was right there at Cedar Bluff, and I was like, so when I got on the interstate, there were branches and limbs on the first 2 right lanes that looked like they built a duck line.
Oh.
Well, I think my house was in the woods.
You weren't far from me.
I get home and I'm trying to tell my folks, like, I know, if you've been here 15 minutes, you ain't got nothing like what, or you just weren't here, like, I'm telling you. Well, again, for whatever reason, I don't know if it's the accent or whatever, or some of the stupid stuff I have. Even people that have known me all my life seem to think spinal cord injury, traumatic brain injury, he doesn't know what he's talking about. I'm just telling you, I just looked at the debris as I came east, and if whatever happened to Cedar Bluff, well, it was on the news, I'm like,
Told you.
how do y'all believe it?
Well, I don't want anybody risking life or limb to attend any CODI meetings, but Joel, I do appreciate,
No, that would be on
that you were
George
there for
Wells,
that.
he wanted his van back, so I'm out there trying, I looked at the weather, I'm like, all right, I can come get you, a friend of mine's got a van like mine, and he uses it like a bumper car about most of the time. And so we dropped it off the week before to get some body work done, so we're gonna go try to beat the tornado, like, yeah, we got this, I'm looking outside. I dropped him off, boom. But you know, he lives over there right off the lake, off the North Shore down around the Concord area. They didn't, you know, then we find out, no, there was a tornado touchdown.
Yeah.
But he didn't give much of it.
Well, we couldn't even tell at the city county building. It got dark and then it got light again.
Mhm.
But let's go into the committee reports, and we will start with Monica for, Monica Shimon-Orr for membership committee.
So first, it was Stacy and we had our meeting. There was others that were missing, which was, I believe it was Cahuela, if I pronounce it right, I'm sorry. And then Villanueva, and then there was a third one that I had missed at the committee meeting. And then, that was the first point I wanted to make. So we need to assign a secretary, because we couldn't do that today because it's not enough members a part of the committee for today. So as far as our reviewing with the group is our main focus for 2023-2024 year, to have retention of membership, to make sure everyone is included and involved and participating, and monitoring the attendance. We did ask about the maximum number of missed absences, but I don't think there is necessarily a missed number. But we want to also make sure that there's an equal number of representation when it comes to disability. But I did want to ask you, Nisha, what the max number of missing our meetings, we weren't too sure about that. So what's the max number of that? I want to ask you, Nisha, to be clear.
There is not a maximum number. It is recommended that members miss a maximum of 2 per year and no more than 1 per quarter. However, there are mitigating circumstances that arise, such as medical or maternity leave. So we do not have a maximum number and then you're out. That is up to the executive and membership committee to discuss and make recommendations to the full CODI body if something is noticed and becomes an issue.
Is that CODI meetings or subcommittee meetings, or is there a difference?
There is a difference. For CODI meetings, that is what we go by. As of right now, unless membership would like to change it and goes to bylaws and bylaws would like to change it, and then it is voted on and agreed on by all of CODI, there is not a stipulation to how many committee and strategic plan meetings that you can miss or you have to attend. However, I do have that sheet that I created that we discussed last February that was to help with attendance and having all on one sheet, who is regularly attending their CODI meetings, committees, and strategic plan groups. And I am going to start trying to send those out via email when I send out the CODI meeting minutes. Hopefully once a month, but at least quarterly. I want to try to send those out to you all so that you all can look over those for not only yourself, but for other members as well. And all of that is public knowledge that can be gathered simply by going and looking at our meeting minutes online.
Thank you.
Maxwell?
I do not believe I know my name was spoken about on membership.
It was actually a sheet, yeah, she's not here
Okay, that's, I
today.
just want to make sure, not part of the membership.
Thank you, Madison.
Matheson, are there quorum requirements for our committees or just CODI
Yes, there are quorum requirements for both. And with the bylaws changes that we're trying to enact right now, this may change a little bit because we're looking at quorum as one of the things, one of the agenda items. However, for regular CODI meetings, it's 50% plus one. For committees, I need at least the chair and 2 other members present. But we will look at changing that in the future to better meet quorum in all areas. And it may be a change across the board, or we may keep regular meeting quorum the same and change that for committees and strat plans.
The last, I'm sorry, change it for committees and,
Strategic plans.
thank you. So I recently explained about our focus. So now we're on long-term goals. So we want to make sure that we're at the max number of members, and then also having a fair amount of numbers of disabilities represented within our group. For our strategic members, we definitely want to recruit more and more activity, more active members with recruiting with them. For short term, attendance is one of our things that we want to monitor. And then getting more people on our membership committee. And then also, the third thing is looking at attendance every 3 months, and we'll get that from Misha. So the next steps for our goals is to meet and review our attendance, contact those who may have missed the meetings, see if their attendance, if they're gonna be coming or not, when it comes to their attendance, we get attendance, and then also having a good goal that was written also is to recruit John Barber to our membership, if he accepts, and I believe you accepted, so welcome. So, and welcome to the dark side.
Wait, I want in on the dark side.
Come on, come on, come on. So, and there was some bottom notes written here. So, having officer nominees, we need to have more than one. If there's more than one that if there's only one that shows interest, we don't need to have an interview. If there are more than one interest, we will go forth with the interviews, and then at that point, we'll make a recommendation of who can be an officer for our CODI meetings. And that's it. Yep, that's it.
And for you in the back, did you all get all of that? Okay, perfect. If you can't hear, just wave at me and I'll ask whoever's speaking to speak up. All right, so next up, who will be speaking for bylaws?
Alexander. All right. For bylaws today, we must elect a chair. We did not elect one, but we have nominated George Childress.
Oh.
Although Mr. Kane has been kind enough to be a second choice in case George does not accept. We looked over the bylaws for incongruencies. Few things we pointed out. In section 3.06, we should replace his, her with their to be more inclusive, and also to change that anywhere else in the document. In section 3.05, leave of absence formatting changed.
Did you say formatting change?
The formatting of leave of absence
Okay.
will be, correction has been suggested. And then section 6.06. The next to last sentence should be, a word should be replaced. Once convened, the committee will propose a timeline to, instead of for, report to general CODI membership, which will be subject to approval by majority vote. And that sums up our meeting.
Alright, perfect. And we will do transportation, and then I will come collect the main copies from everybody who was my note taker for this, so that both Welch and I have access to the information that you did in your individual groups. Would you like to take that on transportation?
Sure. Okay, we need to elect a secretary. We did not officially elect one. We do, Brooks is going to be our interim secretary for the moment because we had several folks absent from our committee as well. Our main focus is going to be make the city of Knoxville more accessible to folks with disabilities through transportation resources. Because there's lots of transportation, you want to say tentacles, so to speak. So how to make Knoxville more accessible to folks with disabilities through transportation resources. That's our main focus. Our long-term goals, there's several that we've discussed. That's to include travel training in all aspects to folks with disabilities for all types of transportation options, whether it be public transportation, private transportation, or through some of the human resource agencies that are out there. Ongoing or continuing education on transportation options and resources. That would include some quarterly updates on transportation contacts, because people move jobs, as we know, and some businesses go out, maybe they merge. And with the whole CAT Reimagine project that's been going on, the collaboration of CAT and KTA and CODI, if we can come together and as CODI could be there to help smooth out some of the issues that may arise, helping folks with disabilities and help to be that collaboration. And another long-term goal would be CAT and city engineering. They always are working together to help make these changes, whether it be the pedestrian infrastructure, but maybe have them come to us twice a year with some updates and the better understanding of how all that works, how that gets implemented, and how city engineering works on all that. So maybe have them come do some updates with our group twice a year. And then short-term goals, stay in the know of updates on local changes, because there's lots of things coming on the horizon, whether it be, for example, veterans transportation or microtransit projects, or whether it be workforce issues. We all know that that's a big issue across the board with anything these days. And also have at least one success story from a disabled person on the improvements on transportation issues, how that has a success story, how has it impacted someone, and come back with that as a short-term goal. And do some research on lessons learned, some stories from some other folks that are in our state, such as Chattanooga, Nashville, and Memphis. And that kind of goes into our next steps of researching with those disability groups, lessons learned, what have they implemented, what challenges have they faced in their areas, because a lot of times those bigger cities, we need to kind of look at those going with our local city here too. What barriers did they face? What resolutions or challenges or successes did they have? And with our next steps as well, we talked to Misha about this. Could we add a link on the CODI website, or maybe even a CAT website, with transportation resources or options so people could access that information? And that's all we have at the moment.
Would you mind grabbing those sheets from Alexander and Shelby?
Okay, so next up on the agenda is discussing community engagement going forward. As you all know, prior to our last half-day retreat, everybody was supposed to be on community engagement, and we would regularly only have 2-3 people show up, which meant we never met quorum. It was always, we had a few staples that would always come, and then for the remainder of the members, it was hit or miss with getting them in there, and so it was always fluctuating. At the February retreat, we had decided and voted to roll community engagement into our regular CODI meeting. For various reasons, this has not worked very well. And of course, it's all a learning experience, but I want to discuss with everyone today, before we go to looking and creating our new strategic plan. For our strategic plan groups, we've got community engagement right now, livability, and universal design. So I wanted to take a moment separate from the strategic plan to discuss with everybody whether or not you feel like there is a need to continue having all members be on a separate community engagement group, or if this is something that you would like to take care of yourselves in each of your other committees and strategic plan groups, and then occasionally report back to the regular CODI body on what you're doing for community engagement to forward the goals of that specific committee or strategic plan. Would anybody like to start a discussion on this or has an opinion either way?
This is Simmons, I've always got an opinion. No, I think community engagement's gotta be a big part of what we do as CODI. We need to get information from the community of what their needs are, what troubles they are, to put it forward. Now, whether, with universal design, obviously we want to talk to people, what are your struggles? We know that affordability and accessibility are right at the top with most people that have disabilities. But yeah, I mean.
And
as far as-
seniors.
Do what?
And seniors.
No, I'm not worried about that. Yeah, they're on their own, they've had plenty of time. They haven't figured it out by the seniors, we really can't help it, gotta cut them loose. But no, I mean, obviously, community engagement's a big part of what we all should be doing. That's the reason we're doing it, is to help the community. Now, whether we need a separate one or each individual, but yeah, whatever you want to call it, that's the reason we're here, isn't it?
Hey, so Barbara here, would it scratch that itch to formalize within the subcommittees as part of those subcommittee meetings, a community engagement piece? So taking everything we discussed in the subcommittees, formalizing a community engagement piece, and then that goes into the report to the CODI meeting at large.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that how it is that we want to do it, but yeah, definitely community engagement, it's got to be a part of what CODI does. Having a complete separate thing, I think everybody should be trying. I don't have the answer. I don't know that we need a separate one so everybody show up. I think each committee should be looking at, how are they getting information to and from the community?
Yes.
That ought to be what it is. I don't think we need a separate one. But I do think each committee should be. I'm going to yield the rest of my time to Representative Alexander.
Alexander, I think it makes a lot more sense to separate it like that and have each one state. I think it would give each group a little bit more purpose of how is bylaws and community engagement, what does that look like?
Yeah, for bylaws and membership, I don't think there's a lot of community engagement that really should or needs to happen.
Right.
Except for membership in terms of finding nominees. That type of community engagement, yes, but we're not really gonna go to the community for looking at our bylaws.
Right.
Or completing the nominee interviews. So
I think having it with the meetings that are already happening, as part of those meetings, you're going to get more input than trying to get everybody to schedule another.
Okay, so you're talking about in like transportation, livability, universal design, rather than as a separate piece in the regular CODI meeting?
Correct.
Are there any dissenting opinions on that?
This is good, no dissension for once. I just wanted to say, I kind of see everything CODI does as a form of community engagement. And in our day jobs, when we aren't in the meeting or a strategic or a committee meeting, we're still engaging with our community, both with and perhaps without disability. But maybe each of the committees and strategic teams could just have a blurb at each meeting on each agenda. Community engagement, question mark. Have we or should we? And if so, take it from there in each of their individual committee meetings. So I thought it was a huge, very, a big goal when a couple of years ago it was decided to create a separate committee for community engagement. But really, again, that's what you all do every day. And certainly when you come to a regular or a breakout type committee for CODI. So I like what I'm hearing as far as consensus seems to be, we don't need that to be standalone.
All right, so what I would like is somebody to make a motion and second a motion.
This is Simmons. I'll make a motion that we don't have a separate committee for community engagement. That each committee we already have, they can report back on what they're doing and what they're hearing from their community.
I'll second.
Okay.
Alexander will second.
So Simmons first and Alexander second. And then all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. All right, so Welch, Shimenor, and Alexander for right now. Since we don't have a chair, if you can take care of this. When you all meet again, membership bylaws and transportation, as well as our chairs for livability and universal design, please make sure in the next meeting, since this is not something that we're used to, that you all make a note and that we discuss in those meetings a brief section of community engagement and how you will do community engagement within that. And Alexander, I know I said your name, but your bylaws, so don't even worry about it.
He didn't look real good.
All right. So member information updates. You all have in your packet a membership satisfaction survey that I printed out for you. I didn't print one for me because who am I going to turn it into myself? But if you will you all have 45 minutes for this. If you all take the full 45 minutes, please feel free. If you don't, that's fine. We will do it a little bit briefer, but I want you to give thoughtful answers for these. The first, I think 11 questions are on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the least, 5 being on your typical average day, and 10 being the most. And then after that, you have short answers. You do have a section for me to verify your contact information, where you're working, and things of that nature. And then at the very end, you have stuff about your biography and your picture. You do have another staple sheet behind that should have your biographies as well as your pictures listed there. If you want to change your biography, please let me know when you will update that and email it to me. And then if you would like an updated picture, come see me. I will stand you against a white wall and take a picture today. Otherwise, if you want to send me one that you've taken at Glamour Shots, you can always email it to me.
Cool.
Okay. You've got one too. I just left that one out to me. Stephanie, did I give you one too?
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I think you should have to fill it.
Yeah.
Oh, I did want to mention on number 1, I'm so sorry, I was trying to knock this out and everything else on Wednesday. That should say understanding of CODI member expectations, not requirements.
That's a better word.
Yeah, but it dawned on me after I printed everything out. Yeah, each question, 1 to 10. So like, that would be a 10 for me.
Yeah.
That would probably be an 8. Those would probably be 4.
Okay, yeah. Awesome. 10. So the 2.
Ones that people.
You have to look at the ones that are like low, so that you're
Well,
like.
I'm gonna look at everything
Yeah.
and just kind of gauge
Okay.
where we are as a whole group.
Okay, makes sense.
I'm trying to figure out where we're at so much time.
Exactly.
Anything else that's used for people from the survey from the office visit might be
Okay.
Just didn't remember about these two because he told me so long in advance. There's stuff waiting.
There's my 2 phone calls a month.
I thought we were having some mood music.
Probably Steve with dealer services wanting to know if,
Yeah. Checked into your extended warranty?
yeah, he hadn't been as concerned lately. I'm kind of wondering if something's really happened on end. Turn this off. Just kind of figure out how to turn it down yet. This spam fella calls me all the time too. Told me, if I want some spam, I'll go to the store and get
Trying
it.
to sell you that fake pot of meat.
I must have trouble selling this stuff lately.
Did you not bring your own pens for our training?
Yeah, I did, but black ink, I changed to black ink.
I'm sorry, these are not great pens. I blame the purchasing department. Are you all finished with yours? Let me put this on there.
Well, before you get you bit. John, do you know what kind of chair that is?
No.
Is it look similar like mine or? is it
Yeah.
look-
Yeah, and it's a nice one. I just don't remember. I'm making a note to go in and take pictures of it tonight. Setting a reminder on my phone right now. So I don't forget. and I can transport it.
Well, I've got my van that's got a ramp.
Okay.
So I can come to your house, you can drive it up in it, and I can take the lady down. And the thing about it is, with something like that, is I can repurpose it. I've always got people that need something temporarily. And I like mine, like I said, you gotta make sure you keep a battery charged. It's amazing. For whatever reason, they built it where if they lose power, you can't really get them going. I have batteries in my old one, ran in 2001, and when I got this shit, I forgot to recharge them, and those batteries died. I can't even.
No, somebody else donated one to us a while back, and that it had that problem, and I had to replace the batteries.
Battery's about $700. It just wasn't like mine.
Well, no, these weren't that bad. They were like, it's like $150 or something.
Yeah, like mine were like little small car batteries.
That's what these were. They were little, but I don't know if I got a good deal on them or what. But I ended up just doing it myself. I don't remember. It's a long time ago. But I ended up just doing it myself, and then I found a home for it. I don't remember if I gave it to Spark or what, but I found a home for it. Because yeah, the dumb thing is just taking up space in my garage, and I hate that because somebody could be using it. So.
Yeah, well, what?
Do you have my cell phone number?
I don't know if I do or not.
Because that way you can bug me directly. Oh, that popcorn. What's your number, Joel?
865-363-6878.
So I'm gonna make a motion for myself, 11 o'clock
I'm gonna text you.
on
You'll have to-
Wednesday, Seaford. All right, everyone, thank you so much for doing that member information update and satisfaction survey. We do have a little while before lunch is gonna be delivered. It will be here at 12:30. So we're gonna switch up the schedule a little bit so we can keep the momentum going and go ahead and go into our strategic plan group breakouts. If you are on Universal Design, if you will come to the table around Joel and directly behind Joel. And then everybody else on livability, if you'd like to find somewhere to meet separated from them, please do. And I will be around to both of the groups to go over what I have for you all.
Michelle or Stephanie, since I'm moving over with the camera, is that okay? Recording
You're on.
from.
We can move back there. I mean, I'll volunteer Joel.
Monica, what are you on?
I can roll anywhere. I got 25.
You're on Universal Design?
Yeah, well, I'm good.
Yeah, well, we
Okay.
can come to Monica.
Yeah, let's go over to Monica. Joel, I'm sorry, I'm gonna have you move over there.
It's real tough.
Never underestimate the effectiveness of the straight cash bribe.
Oh, go for it. Why not?
Professional. Her boss will be here in 2 seconds. Hit the head record.
And Tanya, our chair is EJ.
Yeah, that's why
She's our secretary for it. Appointment number, your eligibility stuff.
Yeah, we're a little low.
I just thought.
All right, so I'm gonna commandeer this for a couple of minutes and we're gonna switch stuff up a little bit. We do have a scheduled break from 2:15 to 2:30. However, since we just came back from lunch, we're gonna see if we can power through and adjourn early. Before we get into strategic plan group reports, which we will probably need Simmons for, you all will notice a Post-it in front of you. While you all were breaking out into the strategic plan groups, I looked over the surveys that I gave everyone, and just based on the very front, the numbers that you all rated from 1 to 10, I have gleaned a few things. But before I go into those, what else I gleaned is that there are some of you that feel like Zoom works really well. And there are some of you that feel like in person might work better than Zoom. So what I would like to do is have everybody do a silent poll. I have Post-its in front of everybody. I would like you to write either Zoom or in person, your preference. Days and times of meetings and everything will remain the same. So Zoom or in person, fold it over and stick it to itself, and then I'll come over and collect it here in a minute. What else I have gleaned from this, and if you'll just hold it up in your hand when you folded it, I'll grab it from you. What else I have gleaned is that we don't feel as cohesive as we used to as a group. So what I would like to proposition is we forego a monthly CODI meeting with the expectation that everybody will treat it as an actual CODI meeting. I will take attendance for it, even though that will not be an official attendance. But I propose that we meet up somewhere in Market Square, where after work, where nobody's walked in, people can have drinks if they want, people can socialize, chat, get to know each other on a personal level, irregardless of CODI business, so that the group feels more cohesive. And I do have everyone's Post-its, right? I don't know how you all feel about that, but we can discuss it here in just a minute. What I have also gleaned is that while the majority of members are at the upper end of the spectrum in terms of what you're rating the regular CODI meetings, it drops significantly when it comes to committee and strategic plan groups. So with that in mind, I believe that as long as people will actually do work in the interim until the next meeting, that it might be beneficial. We may have more engagement and we may actually get more work done if we do committees 1 month, strategic plans the next, committees, strat plans. So having both go to every other month. But with that being said, and I would like us to discuss it in a minute, with that being said, what I don't want to have happen is everybody vote to do this and then nobody do the work on the off months and us make less progress in the committee and strategic plan groups. So first of all, let's discuss, do you all think that having a non-sanctioned CODI get together that everyone is expected to attend, that is off the clock, where you all are free to be yourselves, come in cutoffs, tank top if you want. Joel will probably have a drink at the bar. Is this something that you feel will bring you together more as a cohesive group and get to know the other CODI members?
I like it.
You had me at beverages.
All right.
You gotta buy your own though, Joel.
Always do. I have a problem with that.
You have to buy mine too.
I have a problem with that.
I'm kidding. Okay, so I will make this happen. It'll be in the next few months, and everybody here will try their hardest to attend this, just as if it is a regular CODI meeting.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Can we have a discussion about where you all stand and how you feel about what I mentioned with committees and strategic plan groups? I am not tied to one way or another. I am simply trying to figure out how to keep everyone happy and engaged and what we're working on in each of them moving forward. This is up to you all, how you all feel about it. Bueller?
So I think your question is, with the suggestion of going to regular CODI committee meetings this next month, perhaps the following month have the strategic plan committees meet, but there will always be a monthly CODI meeting.
Yes, regular monthly CODI meeting, second Wednesday of the month, 3 to 5. That will remain unchanged. Committees and strategic plans, regardless of what these post-its say, committees and strategic plans will remain on Zoom. What I'm asking is if you want to continue with both of those meeting monthly, or if you would like to stagger them.
I have a question. This is Love. Violet hasn't been meeting monthly.
It is not, it only meets on an as-needed basis, and then membership meets quarterly.
Right.
So membership would not change and bylaws would not change. This would be transportation and whatever strategic plan groups that we decide upon today.
Sorry about that. I missed what you had commented about.
Oh, I had asked about membership and bylaws, if that was included, and she said no. They would stay the same as they are.
So quarterly versus every.
Right.
Madison?
Madison, what's our current success rate with doing it every month?
You asking about attendance?
Completion of what you feel we need to complete.
The way I personally feel about it or statistically?
Yeah.
All right. So statistically, the amount of people that attend and don't attend has stayed about the same since I've been with CODI. There are some times when more people regularly attend than not. However, I have noticed with both of our strategic plan groups, we've kind of been sitting still for a little while. I don't know personally that we do need to meet every month. A lot of the months it seems like we come, check in, kind of sit there for a minute, say, is there anything new that needs to be done? There isn't, and then we dismiss. Or we plan it, we have a full agenda, and then we have 2 members show up, so it can't happen anyway. I feel like going to bi-monthly, I'm hoping that if we go to bi-monthly, it will increase engagement since it's not a requirement as often. What I am fearful of is that attendance won't increase in those and that we'll make less progress in the different committees and strategic plan groups. And the second part of that is I'm afraid if that's the case, that a vote to make them monthly again will not pass.
How long has it been monthly?
Since I've been here. So I've been around since January of 2018 and it's been monthly since then.
I'll go ahead and make a motion, let's try bi-monthly. See how it works and re-engage.
Okay, so bi-monthly committees and strat plan groups for transportation and then strategic plan.
This is Cook. So that was motioned by Madison, and there will need a second and a, something else. And I was gonna ask a question. Holy cow. It is come and gone at the same moment. Never mind, ignore Cook for the moment. She thinks of it, she'll come back around.
Do we have a second on that vote? Villanova.
Thank you.
Oh.
All in,
Wait, I remembered what it was. I was gonna ask the Madison, the motioner, if he felt like he needed to put, do you wanna look at a 6-month trial period? Or do you wanna just put it out there and see what happens?
Let's try 2 months.
Well, 2 months would really give folk enough time to come, right?
6 months.
yeah, I'm with 6 months.
6 months is okay?
Okay.
Thank you for letting my thought wander back around to my brain.
All right, all in favor? Any opposed? All right, motion passes. I will send out an email next week letting you know whether it's committees or strategic plan groups meeting in person for September, and I will give you a schedule based on that. I will also update.
Meeting on Zoom.
Zoom or in person?
I'm sorry, Zoom. I will also update the website. Does anybody remember where you go to look for meetings? Hey, you got it, Karen. knoxvilletn.gov/CODI.
Oh, sorry.
You got it. Sorry, my hearing must be bad after lunch. But it was Knoxville TN, I'm sorry, the website?
Yes, knoxvilletn.gov/CODI.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, I'm tallying my secret poll. All right. All right, so it's close, but Zoom has been the preferred option. All right, and with that being said, we did recently go to the quarterly in person, so we will continue doing that. 2 of those will be, of course, a half-day retreat and the full-day retreat, so you get more of each other. And then the other 2 meetings will be just regular CODI meetings. All right, so the next order of business is going over the strategic plan groups. Joel, do you want to start us off with universal design?
Sure, what do you want to know?
Everything on that sheet that I'm going to collect.
That's why I just turned you. Now, actually, universal design, basically what we've been going over with is we were looking at reaching out to the Home Builders Association of Greater Knoxville and then the Realtors Committee. Well, I spoke with Leslie, who has been the president as well as the secretary for Greater Home Builders of Knoxville, and they're really not set up. We want to, rather than try to have a dinner design and try to invite people and educate them on what universal design is, we thought, well, if we could go to the meetings where they've already got them corralled and pick their brains and see if they're seeing anything in the marketplace that's dictating people towards aging in place. We got the information that the 10,000 baby boomers a day are retiring. We know that Knoxville is a desirable place to move to, or Tennessee in general, just because the taxes and what your dollar would buy. But we're trying to mine data and find out what's going on in the marketplace, because we can sit here and talk all day long amongst ourselves, and common sense will tell you there's nobody in their 60s looking at a house going, the more stairs we have, the more availability. But the cost of housing, unless we've got a lot of young people that are leaving this area because they can't afford to buy the houses here. I don't know where they're going to go where the housing isn't, but the median cost of a house is about $345,000 in Knoxville now, and if you get any lower than that. So we're looking at trying to find affordable, accessible housing. Where do you start? Well, we're not going to be able to go to the Home Builders Association because they're really not set up. They're set up mainly to serve their members, and they try to help them with if you go to their website, look at their calendars. They have people coming in, like we have people come in and talk to us about accessible dwelling units or CAT comes in and talks about the buses. Well, they have people come in to talk to their people about, how to do cost analysis when ordering bundles. That's what they're not really set up for the public. They're a members thing, and they're there to help members. Not that they don't want to help, but if you look at their members, the people that are members, there's hundreds of them in there. And you've got everybody from suppliers to subcontractors to general contractors. So it looks like our next stop is going to try to go to realtors. Because, people are calling realtors to get information. You can do a lot of stuff online now, but usually you have to have a realtor show and just see, is it starting with the aging population? Because we can piggyback on that. You've got the seniors, but with the aging population, are you seeing people that are looking for places where they can age in place? Because like we were talking about, Medicare won't pay for, and then if you're on Medicare, with an injury or what, Medicare won't pay for assisted living. They'll pay for a nursing home. But if we live long enough, everybody's going to have a disability. If you live long enough, you're going to experience a disability at some time. So if you've got stuff where you can age in place, the main importance of that is, if I have to have a hip replacement, I have to go to assisted living. If my bathroom and everything and bedroom, if I don't have everything on one level and I've got steps to go into, then I'm going to a skilled nursing facility to do my rehabilitation, which, depending on how the insurance works, can cost. Most elderly people and people with disabilities are looking for something on one level. Or as Monica pointed out, with the deaf-blind community, they kind of feel like they're left behind. Nobody's building stuff with the lighting system you need for warnings. Monica was saying even for the blind, there's no curbs in a lot of the areas, so they don't have nothing that they can use a cane to give them guidance on how to get in and out of the places. I personally, and I think as a group, we don't feel like, as CODI, we don't have the horses to pull that wagon. We can gather information, but the more information that we can get and send it to the powers that be, the mayor, the city council and all, I don't see them getting involved with the private industry, and I wouldn't want them to. Don't believe that's it. But if you have housing that's being built, if there's any state money used, any federal money used, or even if there's not state federal money used, if they're building stuff, and with your apartment complexes, if it's over 4 stories, you have to put an elevator in. So it doesn't take long to figure out nobody's building a 5-story apartment unit. So we said, okay, well, what's the average number of units that are in an apartment complex? And it's somewhere around 75. So do the math, just keep it simple. There's 25 on each floor. Well, they could go in and say, all right, well, if you're going to do that, you got 25. Just like if you've got a parking lot, you have to have X amount of accessible parking for how many parking. We ought to be able to go in, if we had carry anything at all about, say, X amount of these on that bottom floor need to be built accessible and some be affordable. And we talked about too, well, is that subjective or objective on what's affordable? Because what's affordable to one might not be affordable to another. So we want to look at housing that's available for people that are struggling around the poverty level. You've got homes that they have set aside, or HUD homes or apartments that you can get rent discounted. What's whatever the proper term is? Those are few and far between. There's a waiting list for those. And Monica pointed out, like I said, the curb cutouts and all. I can tell you from talking with people through the groups I volunteer with, and Stephanie has heard it a lot, what they consider accessible means if you can get in the front door, that was accessible. Forget the fact you can't use the bathroom, you can't go in the kitchen. You got in the door, that's all that really matters. So try to gather information as far as the home goes through the realtors and all. And then, we're kind of ends where after the housing boom and everybody's houses went up, Knoxville topped the list in the United States on how much rent went up. So now people can't afford to buy a house, and everybody that was renting stuff said, well, hell, if we can't afford to buy a house, we can get more out of our rent. So we had 11% rent increase, and it topped the nation in rent increase. So if you're down and out, it's not looking like we're near as friendly as we'd like to be.
All right, so I think you went over kind of your main focus and long and short-term goals and the steps to reach it and the future implications. How would that impact the overall strategic plan?
Not much. No. How would it impact the overall strategic plan? Who knows? All we can do is fill up the can and see what we can do. That comes down to how many horses we have. Our strategic plan should be that we have affordable and accessible housing for everybody. That's what we're hoping that it'll do. All we can do is, again, the more data we get our hands on, I figure the better impact we're gonna have on the strategic plan. A lot of it's common sense. Don't nobody wanna hear common sense. We're gonna have numbers.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to come in there with some facts and logic. It's hard to argue with others. They can argue with it, but it's hard. I feel doesn't go a long ways. I feel like this, and you drop all the fuzzy feelings. This is business. And that's what we're gonna have to do, is come up with enough things where we can influence the business of it.
All right, thank you. And Joel, if you want to get out this sheet of paper that you all had written on, I will grab it from you in just a second for mine and Nancy's notes. Karen,
This is good. I wanted to add something just to that discussion about, universal design. When I was over here listening in, we had a discussion of what is considered low income and who defines that. So what we'll do next week, we get back into the office, HUD sends that information out, and I made a note, and we will get that out to not just members of that committee, but all of CODI, because it could very well be helpful for each of us to see what the HUD considers low income, low to moderate income, and then moderate or above. So just want to let y'all know, if you get some random email with that information and you aren't on that committee, you will know why you'll get it. All right. Lo, did you want to take livability, or did you want someone else to?
No, I'll do it.
Okay.
Excuse me. So we're talking a lot about the checklist. We do have some new people who hadn't really had a chance to see the checklist. So with the purpose of the committee, we came up with to give Knoxvillians access to information on accessible businesses and restaurants, and also to expand knowledge in general capacity for all of Knoxville. For the main focus of the group for 2023 to 2025, to expand access and knowledge of livability issues to the general public in Knoxville, which, Misha, can we make sure you get everybody who's on livability the updated checklist?
Mm-hmm. We've got copies galore back there.
Perfect, thank you. And we're still working on getting it to us. Okay. In terms of long-term and short-term goals, with short-term goals, we actually divvied up and had people pick which restaurants they felt they would be comfortable going to. Because I've already done a few, I volunteered to go to any of them. And Jackson has volunteered to help make a master list so we can kind of mark off as we go along, so we're not redoing other people's work. Isn't it? That's his idea. And long-term goals, we want to make it readily accessible catalog of accessible businesses and restaurants available to the public, which I know as we get more checklists done, that is part of the goal. And then to have 10% of this current list completed by the end of this year. Cool. And establishing guidelines for re-reviewing restaurants if they become, get new owners or new management, because as we all know, things can change. And next steps to reach goals, continue to tweaking completion of checklist, and working on adding more locations to our current list. And then future implications, just help businesses change their practices to be more accessible. And then Maddie pointed out if we could try to get in on the ground floor of where new businesses, like Stacy had mentioned, some of the South Knoxville new businesses, can we get in before they actually open and just be like, hey, can we see if this is gonna work? We're not exactly sure how to accomplish that, but it's a good goal to have. Sure.
This is Cook. I suggest one way to address that is look at the city's plans review process. Remember Jim Tente, the chief plans reviewer? He made that amazing list explaining the different types of accessibility in housing. And he's also made a pretty phenomenal accessibility checklist, if you will, for that kind of thing. So if it's helpful, maybe we can see, we can't get our hands on that list. And then if you feel like because of the surveys that you guys have been doing, they've been missing something or could add something, that would be some really good input to provide from CODI.
Is his list publicly accessible?
The question was, is his list publicly accessible?
Or you got this sweet talking for it?
Well, it's a list that he created for those that go out and do site inspections.
Oh, okay.
So I'm thinking it's should be, but either way, I'm gonna get that checklist.
It's top secret.
No.
But those are what we focused on more than the other implications, because we feel like if we get through the checklist some more, then we can add on to the other things.
Thank you. All right. So before we go to our current strategic plan and our new strategic plan, which is our next main order of business, may I see by a show of hands, if we have enough, who would like to take a ham sandwich home with them today? Okay, I've got 2 takers and 5 boxes. Come on.
I'll take one. Got cookies.
Okay, all right. Keep your hands up so I know where to put them. Misha.
You can write names.
And then we can stuff them in the fridge over
Simmons
there.
and Alexander, you can put your hands down.
Say just put them in the mobile and have like 100 names. So
Please God.
How many sandwiches can you get?
yeah. For the entertainment.
Alexander, Maxwell,
Yeah, right. Blood shit.
I've got you. Matheson, I've got you. Who was my other person? Alright, these will be in the refrigerator. I'll put them in there right now. Please don't forget to grab them from the kitchen refrigerator before you leave today. And think about how amazing your cooking was. I don't need it, but I don't know what this stuff is.
Oh, Sam, yeah.
Doesn't matter if you pass it out.
The box that doesn't say Maxwell on it to Maxwell.
Recording stopped.
They have good coffee there. Yeah.
Oh, Stephanie. That tea is constant.
Oh,
So
They
it's
just
no problem.
so they got nothing right. Well, that's $8 of tea that we're gonna get for another occasion.
Too sweet compared to coffee.
Oh, man.
I don't understand how they got coffee in it.
Yeah.
They got coffee and tea
The
jars?
fella,
You thought
so
they
they
used to
hand me
Yeah.
my caramel frappe. No, they don't. They gave me the straw and my receipt and my debit card and Mish's biscuit. And asked me to pull up to the second window. Okay, I'm thinking 2 gallons of tea and a frappe. I was there for 10 minutes. And when they brought it, I'm thinking, well, her food's now cold. But when they brought it, he said the one with the sticker was unsweet. So I didn't touch that. So I came over here and I opened the one with no sticker, of course poured it over a whole cup of ice, and took a swig and about fell out the chair because it was coffee. So I'm sorry about that. That was not planned and that was not our fault, but next time we'll do better.
Or you could be like me and just bring a gallon of your own coffee.
You mean 4 cups?
So, where'd you get the tea from?
4 24-ounce cups is
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
her container holds. I'm sorry, Joel.
Where'd you get the tea?
McDonald's.
Yeah, their sweet tea will make your teeth go bad.
Yep.
And they didn't give you no sweet tea.
Yeah, I can't drink McDonald's tea, it instantly hurts my mouth. All right, so we are back on to current strategic plan.
Excuse me, Misha, I'm sorry to interrupt, this is the interpreter speaking from Monaco. But I just wanted to mention that I've added an interpreter to the Zoom, because I just need a little bit of a break. So I just wanted to just let y'all know, but he's on here, so that's why I have my computer here.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I'm just getting ready to add him in, so I just wanted to let you know, make sure that that's okay.
That's fine.
And Monica O said it's okay, but if some freezing happens, then I'm gonna jump back out and just need a little bit of a break.
I gotcha, and I saw her thumbs up.
Okay, you saw the thumbs up, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so if everybody will take just a few moments and actually read over our 2021-22 strategic plan. We will need to talk about afterwards if we want to keep both of these strategic plan groups, if we want to get rid of any, combine any, add any strategic plan groups. In the past, we have had community engagement, we have had a COVID committee. This is the time if we want to change anything to change things. So this will be from 23 to 25. We will not touch this again until August of 2025. So any changes need to be discussed today so that we can get this solidified before we leave here. It is. So this falls under that because of like some activity and things of that nature. And these are the 8 domains of liberty, except it looks like 7 to I don't know what the 8th one is. Engaging with government, engaging with this process. We're doing that. That's all we do. That makes sense. And I do remember us doing that. So that makes sense. I'm seeing a lot of people looking up now. We'll give it just another minute or two and then we'll start discussing.
Because we've been an entire year without a new strategy plan. That's all I know. We need to put over here. That's got to that's Justin.
All right, does anybody, especially our new members, have any questions about anything you read on the strategic plan, specifically future implications? Yes, Maxwell.
This is Maxwell. So, as I was looking at the livability part as strategies, community, and health services, and then I looked at the future implications, as I'm missing something, I didn't see anything that I thought would tie into community and health services. Am I correct in reading that, or?
That would be the accessibility checklist implementation, and that would lead into community services. These strategies right here in the middle, these are based directly on the 8 domains of livability, and they're basically kind of divvied between the two. The only thing that isn't in here is engagement with basically government, which all of CODI does all the time. So that's why that's not on here, but everything else falls into the 8 domains of livability.
And so let me just clarify. So we have in the strategies has accessibility checklist, and then references something about that in future implications. So with the community and health services, maybe I was thinking something differently. Is there anything that was tied in for the future implications on that end? Or am I looking at this?
That's certainly something that we can add.
Oh, no, well, don't add, I'm just saying, I just want to make sure I'm reading this correctly to make sure that y'all create anything in the future implications specifically for community and health services outside of accessibility checklists, outdoor spaces, and ADA transplant.
Mrs. Cook,
Okay.
I see the work of the SAFE team, securing accessible facilities for emergencies team, as needing to be in this, because that is definitely a community service that could impact a person's health. And it has been a work in progress for, a year and a half. And so that has not yet been folded into our age-friendly network draft plan, but it's going to soon be. So would you guys agree that on the livability goal, that we add the work of the securing accessible facilities for emergencies team? Okay.
Where would you put that on? Which box do you put that on?
I would just list it in strategies,
Okay.
and then we could, and I put that in the wrong spot myself, but we could put it on strategies and then give some further explanation in that implications box.
Can you restate what you're putting in there?
Let's see if we.
Securing emergency what?
Securing accessibility for emergencies.
Accessibility for emergencies, and that is the work where we got together with the city, the county, the health department, Red Cross, fire, police, you name it. And now we have that amazing portable equipment trailer. So I think that is super important, and it should always be on CODI's radar. So that's why I would think a strategy is continuing the work of the SAFE team, and then the implication is it's going to further the city and the county's ability to have appropriately accessible emergency plans in place. Does that make sense?
This is Simmons. What's the trailer do?
The trailer
Is
is
it portable health? It's health?
It is a box trailer that is pulled by the Tennessee Fire Chaplains Association, because Captain Paul Trumpour of the Knoxville Fire Department is their chair. And so it is a trailer that has 30 wheelchairs,
Oh, okay, yeah.
manual, And it's got rollators and walkers and canes, oh my,
Yeah,
and blankets and everything,
Yeah.
even sensory kits.
yeah,
It's
Yeah,
a
I remember
response
what it
to
was,
the
yeah.
incident that happened at Summit Towers where they could not access
Yes,
the elevators and people were being carried down the stairs.
yeah,
And then once they got down the stairs, they had nowhere to put them.
Yes.
So this was the city's reply to that emergency situation.
yes. Good way to put that.
This is Spangler, so when it it just makes me think of all the stuff that's going on in Hawaii. Like, what are those people that couldn't jump in the water? What happened? I mean, you know what happened to them, but like, is that something, that trailer, something that would be, if something, like where there was a tornado in Tennessee not too long ago, that Monday where everybody's power was out? Would that trailer go to that kind of emergency response?
It is not just for Knoxville, Knox County. Knoxville, Knox County is the priority area because that's where the resources and those that operate the trailer are.
Right.
But if Jefferson County needed it, then they could use it. As far as Chattanooga, Nashville, Memphis goes, we couldn't go that far. I mean, there are like regional agreements with all these intergovernmental agencies. But I can tell you that on good authority, Chattanooga, Nashville, and Memphis are all so very jealous of our trailer. They're trying to get their own in place. So hopefully they will have one. But one of the worst real life experiences for individuals with disabilities in an emergency evacuation situation was Hurricane Katrina. And I think we've learned a whole lot of lessons, hopefully, since then. Also, the Nashville floods, 12 or 15 years ago, there were a lot of individuals with disabilities negatively impacted by that. So there have been just a lot of lessons learned from like the Disability Coalition, Tennessee Disability Rights Tennessee, all these folks like, kind of like us, when we get the call 9:30 on a Saturday holiday evening, we're like, holy cow, let's figure out what we can do. Let's call our friends and neighbors and, just put something together and help people. And I know I went down a little bit of a rabbit trail, but you all just don't realize how important this is and how quickly and easily it came together to involve so many different collaborators. It's just a phenomenal thing we should all be very proud of. You're gonna have to speak up for the interpreter.
Oh, sorry, you should
Interrupt
pick us
for a
up with a
second.
tour.
Because we have had, and of course, we modify things as we go along, because we had this interpreter step outside and we've now got one via Zoom, if I can have everybody move up to these front tables so that we're closer to that computer right there, I would really, really appreciate it. I want to make sure this is accessible for everyone. Perfect. Spangler, I did not mean to interrupt you. I apologize.
Me and my blankie are coming up too.
this is, and the things I could think, talking about with that coming hand with the tornado. Typically trailers and tornadoes don't get along.
Oh, yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
You
I mean,
haul that
after
trailer-
the tornado.
You haul that
that's
trailer out there, a tornado's heading right that way.
And please do continue still to speak up and be aware of talking over each other since we've just got the one interpreter. Okay, so what I've heard so far is we want to add the SAFE team in the strategies and future implications of livability. But let's back up a little bit. These are going to be our strategic plan groups for the next 2 years. So we need to discuss, do you all believe we need to keep livability and universal design as just livability and universal design? Do you all feel like any of these are no longer needed? Do you feel like there is something needed that is not on this sheet right now as a strategic plan group for the next 2 years?
This is Cook. I have an idea that just pops to mind. What if there's a goal of whatever you guys want to call it, accessible emergency plan and response. And then we put in there, the strategy is the work of the SAFE committee or team, and then we could put implications in there by, 2025, our plan is fully updated and available. We have fully outfitted the equipment trailer. We're only waiting on 5 more bariatric wheelchairs, things like that.
I have a question.
Loud.
Yeah, I know. I just feel bad asking the question. Unless there are gonna be CODI members on it, would that be something that would be on the CODI strategic plan group? Because right now, we're the only people from CODI that are on the SAFE team. So I'm not sure that.
Then the answer is,
I don't like disagreeing with Stephanie, I love her.
please, that's okay. Okay, to that point, leave it in the goal of livability, because ultimately we want to be the most livable city in the whole wide world. So we'll leave it in the goal of livability, and we'll just add some implications such as finalizing the plan, making sure anybody that needs it has it in their inbox, on their website, whatnot, that kind of thing. That work?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so is there anyone, by a show of hands, that wants to rescue my coffee? Thank you, Daniel. I got mad at it because it was getting empty, so I kicked it.
There's a whole Starbucks.
Is there anybody, by a show of hands, that feel for any reason like livability or universal design is not needed as a strategic plan going forward for the next 2 years? All right, so these will stay on the strategic plan. Is there anybody, by a show of hands, that feels like there needs to be an additional strategic plan group that is not on this sheet right now?
I feel like we need something, but I don't know what it is. That makes sense.
You got the hand in the back.
Kane here. One thing that I know is a hot button issue right now is the impacts of the opioid epidemic. I don't know if that would be too broad to include anywhere in what we're going for, but I do know that is a big issue in our community right now, and it definitely impacts people with disabilities as well. I'm just not sure how that would fit.
Alexander, wouldn't that be under community and health services?
Yeah, I was just looking at that and thinking the same.
That it could
Community
go.
and health services.
Okay. We could certainly add, Barbara here, we could certainly add an implication to that effect.
So as far as, thinking this through, let's say that we were going to try to make, which I know you're not saying this, but try to make community and health services its own strategic plan group. What I have found, especially with the COVID-19 strategic plan group that we had created, that I would be afraid would happen with this, is we kept up to date on all the issues, and we had lots of good chats between ourselves in that strategic plan group about what should happen, but we didn't have any authority to make anything happen anywhere with the hospitals or here or there. And I think the same thing would happen if we had a health services strategic plan group that was focused on trying to change some of this. I don't think that we have the jurisdiction to do that with rehab centers, hospitals, and the like. So I do believe that probably putting it as an implication might be the best bet for that.
Okay.
Do we want to put that under addiction, or do you want to specify opioid addiction?
I would be open to either. Does anyone else have any thoughts on that?
This is it. I would think just making it broad addiction.
Okay.
This is cooked. I'm thinking that there's going to be in another 4, 5, 6 months a half-day retreat So should there be anything that gets worked out on this updated strategic plan today that maybe 2 months from now, it just is in somebody's brain all the time saying it doesn't look right or feel right, we can absolutely revisit that.
Okay. Villanueva?
I was gonna add to that, and I don't know, since you had just mentioned what kind of jurisdiction we would have, but something that we've been talking about in another group that I'm with is advocating for individuals with disabilities in healthcare, just mental health services, accessibility, like interpreters at appointments. A lot of places think that it's not their responsibility to provide them. I don't know what we could do necessarily, but I feel like it's worth bringing up because it's an issue.
Okay. I have also, on some of the literature that I collected, heard mention of being more mindful of people's mental state and leaning towards suicide. So that might be something that we want to add to this as well. Thoughts on how to phrase that? Do you all feel like it should be added?
I think it can be there. So Barbara, I mean, advocate for mental health services for
Disabled community.
individuals with disabilities, disability community.
And I do want to point out, while we're talking about this, that it's not only people with disabilities, but seniors and veterans as well. So it's, trifecta.
Yeah, that's good. Can I, this is Barbara again. I'm curious what y'all's thoughts are. This is just like a nomenclature change, but changing the livability group to livability and visitability. Because we talk a lot about the people who live here, but particularly, like as the mayor's concerned, visitability is an enormous thing.
Well, this is good.
Here she comes.
Here I come, put a damper on that amazing idea.
Dampen away.
When we talk about visitability, that has implications in built housing. 0-step entrance, clear doorways, and a half at least back on the main level.
Sure.
So when we call livability and visitability, I hear what you're saying. For those that live here, bless you, we want to increase our livability. And those that visit here, we want it to be fully welcoming and accessible to them. But if we call it visitability, I guarantee you it's going to get all mashed up.
That makes sense.
So maybe just don't call it visitability in that category.
Would we want to put that under universal design, since that's something that they're working on as a future implication?
Absolutely.
Oh, I don't know about dumping it off on us. We're pretty darn busy.
Poor Joel, he does so much work.
Work.
This is Spangler, could we call it tourism? Or, I mean, because when you think about when I think about visitability, I think about going to visit a place on vacation, the things I would want to do on vacation, what kind of stuff is going to be accessible to me. I mean, obviously everything's accessible to me, but if I had a different circumstance.
This is Simmons. Y'all would jump vacation over on Universal Design. We got time, right?
Yeah, I mean, back to the original point, I think Stephanie's suggestion is good, and I think if we just bump that down, I think that probably scratches that itch.
I actually do like livability and accessibility, though.
Yeah.
For what we were saying, because that would tie into advocating in healthcare, making it more accessible for people with disabilities, seniors and veterans. The mental health, securing accessibility for emergencies is on accessibility as well. Cook.
I might have had an idea. What if we call it livability / community accessibility? Does that help? Clarify. Lauren?
Ziegler here. We're talking a lot about accessibility in physical spaces, but I don't think any of us have actually mentioned accessibility in digital spaces today. So I think a future implication, especially with the accessibility checklist, could be us looking at the accessibility of the places we're visiting digitally. So their websites, their social media, and documents that they're handing out to the community, those sorts of things.
I'm good with that. Did you know that there's a proposed rule for WCAG 2.1 AA designation to become law for all government websites? When that is handed down in the next couple of months, everybody has 2 years to conform. So this, I agree with that, and I think it's very good to have this on our radar going forward. And we'll talk more about universal design in a minute when we get through livability, but those on the livability community, livability strategic plan group, please remember that we're adding all of this, so it's not just gonna be checklists going forward. No pressure. I didn't mean to stop the conversation.
Well, you did.
This is good.
It's all on you, kid.
This is good stuff.
All right, so is there anything on this filled out page of future implications that we do not feel needs to be on livability anymore?
Did you add the trans plan to the webpage? Did that get completed?
We can't.
We can't.
We
But
can't.
that's huge. That's right.
I know.
That's right. That's huge.
All right, so I don't hear anybody talking. I'm assuming that everything that was typed out here is good. Other than adding livability and community accessibility as the name of the strategic plan group, adding the SAFE team to strategies, and then for future implications, adding SAFE team. We need digital spaces, addiction, healthcare advocacy, and mental health in there. Is there anything else we want to add to livability? All right, let's talk about universal design. First of all, go ahead and look through what was typed out beside this filled out sheet. See if there's anything that you all feel needs to be deleted from the strategic plan going forward. And then once we do that, we'll get suggestions for things to add to Joel's workload.
Work.
Oh, yeah.
That's-
It's not a new business.
Oh, I just wanted to sound
This is good. I'm curious on bullet point 3, where it says, consider permanent supportive housing and how our most marginalized community members' needs are being addressed in Knoxville and how our outcomes being tracked and measured. There is a new joint office of housing stability, that's formed between the city and the county. So perhaps that one bullet point doesn't need to remain here, but could go to that joint office, and then the city will still have the work of Mike Dunthorne, who's worked on the homeless initiatives for 20 years. What do you think about, just because we haven't in 2 years really done anything with that, because there are other groups that work on that.
If there's anybody that feels like this needs to remain, please raise your hand now.
Strike it.
striking permanent supportive housing from universal design.
I have a question too, about bullet number 2. This is Welch. The bullet number 2 is the city requires more than, future implications, the city require more than the minimum fair housing accessibility requirements when new family housing is created. We've talked about this for the last couple of years. However, we didn't get anywhere with that because there's lots of things you have to jump through and get past. Can we get rid of that one?
I propose that we actually modify the verbiage of it. I believe that we need to modify the verbiage to incorporate bullet points 1 and 2 and put that towards Home Builders Association and Realtors Association.
This is, how do we go to the Home Builders Association and tell them we require more than?
No. That needs to be reworded because we can't tell them that we're requiring it.
No.
But I think that, let me see. Advocate for more than the minimum fair housing accessibility requirements
No, we do that. Hold on.
instead of city require.
This is Cook.
Yeah,
You
you're right.
could say implications, city requires up to 50% of all new units being accessible to whatever the degree available is. And by that I mean if we're building 200 units and they're in buildings that are 3 stories or less, they're not gonna be required to have elevators, but that would mean that each of the ground floor units have to meet the fair housing accessibility minimum requirements. So we could take those ground floor units and increase their level of accessibility to get true, fully accessible units more than the minimum required. What do you think?
City require up to 50%.
That was actually one of the things that we talked about when we broke out was the fact that you got X amount of parking spots, X amount have to be accessible. The same ought to be with the apartments as they go up and truly be accessible and affordable.
Yeah.
So we stopped, again, we kept it 75 units, 25 on the bottom, come up with what's the number of those 25 on the bottom, what's that number gonna be? And the more data that we can mine, that we can go in there and give them pure numbers and versus going, it'd really be fair if we did this. We're gonna have to hit them with numbers. So figured out a way to put the verbiage so quietly, the future implications, get the information to the city that empirically proves where we're needing this. Not, well, we know we see this, that, but come in with some empirical numbers.
Okay, so Stephanie, if everybody's good with that, how exactly did you phrase that?
I just wing it, Misha.
City require up to 50%. Providing housing developers to require more than minimum fair housing accessibility requirements for new multifamily housing.
Okay, I'm gonna pick on Kane. Is it 20% that have to be accessible under Fair Housing Act?
I do not do a lot of housing.
Okay, well, that's okay, it's okay. So if that is a correct number, if it's say 20%, then you can always put in here the goal of 50%.
Okay.
How does that? And that'll make it a little bit clearer, and that's well above the minimum requirements. And we understand when you combine people with disabilities and seniors, how much of that population is it? Shout it out.
A bunch.
50%. It's about 50%. So that would match the numbers that we have today.
Okay,
Okay, so anything else that is already written, typed out that needs to be deleted or modified? Okay. Anything to add to universal design besides visitability?
Looks like we're clear.
Okay. So I know that I said that we needed to finish this today, and I told him I wanted to vote on it. I have since changed my mind, because we've discussed this, but we are adding a lot of stuff and modifying a lot of stuff. I do not want us to actually vote on it until it is typed on a sheet of paper and you have had a chance to look at it and digest it. So I will do that, I will send it out, and we will vote on it in its final format at a regular CODI meeting. But is everybody okay with what we have discussed and written down for the strategic plan today? Does everybody feel like it is going to be complete when you get it back from me? Okay, I'm seeing a lot of yeses and thumbs up.
Yes.
They're just tired and ready to go.
I was getting ready to say, people get real agreeable.
Probably.
That sounds good.
All right. Do you want to call for new business?
Yeah, that's my one role today. Does anybody have any new business today?
Nope, they don't.
How about any announcements? Obviously, there's no, I'm seeing none.
Wait,
I have an announcement. You all have a handy dandy color flyer in the back of your packets. This is about the Access Oak Ridge Fair, which will be happening on October 7th, 2023. Marion Wildgruber, she is actually, I believe, the ADA coordinator for the city of Oak Ridge. She is relatively new to the job. She is trying to get a body like CODI and is very impressed with all of you. And has invited us all to attend that Access Fair. I am going to try to go myself. If you all can attend, I think it would be really cool to see how a different city puts on a resource fair. I know Stacy, you and myself, and Karen and Nancy and Kanya were all at this Knoxville Resource Fair this past weekend. So if you do go, please let me know how you liked it. If you can, jot down some notes for what you think worked really well for them that might work for us in terms of booths and things of that nature, so that when we attend resource fairs as CODI, we're doing the best that we can to get people over to us so that we can get our name out into the community.
I'm going, this is fine.
Cool. Well, maybe I'll see you there. Are they? Well, I might come visit you while you're there.
Let's go spike the punch for Parkinson's.
There we go. All right, any other announcements? Cook.
I just wanted to share that have heard a lot of positive feedback about your all's mayoral candidate forum. And even the mayor herself towards the end said that it was probably one of the better organized and well-managed forums that they participate in. So that was impressive. But also since then, on knoxvilletn.gov/CODI, you should find links to the forum as well as links to the written responses that were sent in by mayoral candidates and city council candidates. Not up there yet.
The questions that were returned to me from the mayoral forum candidates and from city council candidates are linked on the website. I have simply not had the time to go through the CART transcription, fix the errors that are in it, add things from the beginning that were not actually in there and put it up on the website. I will get to that as soon as I can. And not every mayoral candidate nor every city council member turned in answers to the questions. But what I have is up there, and I'll get that transcript up as soon as I humanly can.
Question, General?
Announcements? Okay. I got an email from my boss the other day about deafblind, how many people in Tennessee are deafblind. I'm gonna read it. According to SK and Steve, the numbers are as follows. As of today, that was August 14th. We saw 315 deafblind consumers who are listed on the National Registry. There are additional 222 deafblind consumers that we have knowledge of. That totals up to 537. Those who are not, so not listed on the registry is 222, but we have knowledge of 537 Tennessee. That's beyond the common.
So to paraphrase, you're saying that you have learned as of August 14th that there are 315.
As of August 14th.
Yeah, okay. There are 315 consumers that are deafblind, but that you all know of 222 additional consumers that are deafblind. So there's 537 individuals who are deafblind. Is that in the whole state? Or is that East Tennessee, Middle?
Full state.
Okay. Okay. Wow.
From HKNC, not New York, I'm sorry, HKNC in New York, Helen Keller National Center.
Oh, Helen Keller National Center. Okay, thank you.
So I need to find those missing deafblind consumers.
What?
I need to find those missing deafblind consumers. How? I don't know. They're probably hiding, isolated, hidden by families, so it's time.
Good.
I have a question. Misha and I like pretty stuff, flashy stuff, handouty stuff. Some people call it swag, you know, particularly when we go to a neighborhood resource conference or things like that. We have the RAD cards that are going to need to be updated because of the new time and logo. And we have some of that really good stuff. But I would just like for you all to think about, you don't have to answer today, but if you think about one or two things when you go to a conference or an expo and there are a lot of vendors around, what is that something that is a magnet to you that you actually want to take back to your office or home and that you will utilize? I mean, you know, you got pens and magnets and stuff, but we're just trying to consider if we can find our money in our budget, we might want to put something like that together for CODI.
Tape measures. I don't ever throw away a tape measure.
She said small tape measures. Okay, cool. Oh, Jackson, I see you doing like the stress squeeze or something. Oh, we could get it in the form of a puzzle piece since that's kind of like the CODI logo. That'd be kind of neat.
They have fidget spinners too. I've got a fidget spinner, I think it's called UHC or something.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay,
So let me throw this out there. And I'm going away from these fidget spinners, but I'm piggybacking on what you said. I know that we don't have it in our budget to do CODI t-shirts. And I think that would be really cool for the CODI members, especially those that are going around and doing the resource fairs and such. But like I said, we do not have money in the budget to get every CODI member a t-shirt, especially with the 3-year terms and such. If we did find a place where these could be ordered, would you all want to buy yourself a CODI t-shirt?
100 times.
Yes.
Everybody is saying yes for the most part. Okay,
Check it Borderland.
well, I'll get
You're
some
just taking the words
information.
right out of
I'll get some information together. If you can send me an email on where you Borderland that you just said, that would be awesome, because I won't remember this on
But you know,
Monday.
that t-shirt that I wear sometimes, it's blue and has the, this is Spangler, has the ribbon on it, the disability awareness ribbon on it. I just got it off Amazon. It was $22, $25. So,
So I'm thinking if we do this, cause I'm hoping it won't be expensive, I'm thinking maybe $15 to get a t-shirt is what I'm gonna be aiming for. So,
Yeah, it just depends on the colors and the shirt itself.
yeah, I'm thinking blue for disability awareness. Is there anybody that just absolutely hates the color blue? Okay, cool.
Cool.
All right, so I do have another announcement. Thinking about what we've got coming down the pipe, with the bylaws changes and having that go to city council on September 5th. And then we will be needing to meet. I'm pretty sure that it's just about time for a membership committee to meet again soon. So I would like to go ahead and tell everybody today that we will do strategic plan groups in September. We will do committees in October. That way, hopefully in October, bylaws can come together, get everything solidified with that, or at least a move on that, transportation and membership. And then in September, we will have the strategic plan updated and can give it to Universal Design and Livability to look at, and see if they feel like it's on par with what's being done, and present it to CODI as a body to vote on at the September meeting. And then I will also try to find a good month. It may be November, since I do feel like towards November, December, we start getting members dropping off because of holidays. We may try to do a November or December CODI get together after hours so that people can come together as a cohesive group. Does that sound good to everyone? Cool.
Question, Cook. If we were to say do this in December, would y'all be amenable to bring in maybe 2 non-perishable food items that we could just collect up and drop off to the food bank?
absolutely.
Okay, awesome.
Cook, if we're meeting like out at Market Square and Joel's gonna be drinking, should we gather food items like in November?
Whatever the next person.
Because I don't know about carrying it around with me.
That's a good point. We
I
could do
can
that.
multitask. I've been drinking and driving for a long time.
His wheelchair, people, his
Oh
wheelchair.
my.
Driving his wheelchair.
All right.
Yes.
Too much information sometimes.
Okay.
I just
Cody.
ended up in a wheelchair.
It is 2:42, and unless there's no further business at this time, we will adjourn. Thank you so much for being here today.